Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ELO Hell Get Good Season 7 Intermediate Grand Finals here. You are about to watch Hot Soup versus Tidal Typhoon. I am Corbeck with Acronator, Evanescence, and DeLuca handling our production side of things. And before we get started, quick reminder, it is Father's Day today. For those of you who have fathers or father figures that you have not reached out to yet, here is your last call. You've got a couple more hours to do it. I'd be remiss if I didn't remind you, but I'd be remiss too if I didn't throw it over to Acronator here so we can talk a little bit about these two squads and what we might be seeing today.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, this is the grand final, so this is the last chance for these teams to get a win in the season. And we're going to have the schedule on screen in just a moment here. So, of course, this is the intermediate grand finals. We're going to be having the expert grand finals. That's around 9, depending on how the long title Typhoon and Hot Soup want to drag this series out. But either way, I believe the first map is going to be Oasis. So there's going to be a good amount of flexibility in terms of what these teams want to run in that regard. We'll be seeing the
Yeah,
bracket, I believe.
I do believe we will see the bracket here, and you get a good idea of what the run has been like there for Hot Soup. They remain undefeated in the playoffs. Titled Typhoons also on a bit of a tear through that playoff bracket until, of course, they hit Hot Soup. Titled Typhoon then managed to battle their way out of losers bracket to earn themselves a chance to face Hot Soup again. But you can see that the last time these two teams played, well, it wasn't much of a contest, Acronator. It was a straight 3-0 for Hot Soup. So you mentioned we might be here depending on how long these teams want to take. And I think from this, we could probably reasonably defer that Hot Soup does not want to take too long, as it were.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to continue on the undefeated streak. Of course, they've just run a tear through the upper bracket. It looks like they haven't dropped a map thus far, whereas Tidal Typhoon dropped like a couple of maps, not including Hot Soup. Obviously, that one was a bit of a fluke, but otherwise they dropped like one map the round before in the winners semifinals. And just looking at these teams, the team sheets rather, to see like what they like to play, it looks like Hot Soup seem to like the double bubble, whereas Tidal Typhoon enjoy more of the stereotypical Ryan Zarya rush brawl kind of composition. I'm not necessarily sure which is like better in the head-to-head. Of course, Hot Soup seems to have played it better at the very least in the winners finals, but that's not necessarily to say that they're going to come out on top this time around. It's probably going to be very dependent on tempo as well as map style in general.
Indeed, and you can get a look at the lineups right there. Suze, Shillelagh, Owie, Bok, I, Horseface, and O Murph taking up the support line on the side of Titled Typhoon. It's Boom, Obscorp, Cashews, and Gapshot leading at the front right there, and then Worf and Star Wars King in that back line. Now, I have seen this Titled Typhoon roster play before. They are very solid. They gave a good drubbing to Reddit Lucio's, another quite solid team as well. Unfortunately, though, Hansu looking like a little bit of a mountain for them to climb, all things considered, in this matchup. I do believe our match is ready to go. They might be starting over in the lobby. So hopefully, our next stop will be Oasis, and we can see what these teams have to run in.
Yeah, like we've already said, Oasis is going to be that first map. A little bit less open to what these teams want to run, as opposed to something like, say, Lijiang Tower, where it's almost a different composition every single round. Oasis, I could definitely see them just sticking to whatever their comfort picks are for every single round. Maybe swap the DPS up a little bit, but otherwise, Oasis is very much like a meta slave. You can just kind of run the meta and be perfectly fine. No need for diversification.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a map that's particularly fancy or flashy. It doesn't really start off the way the games I was on yesterday did, where both matches came out starting on Busan, which is a little bit more of a tricky beast than Oasis. Oasis probably lending itself a little bit better to those brawl style executions as well, which we might see in action. Though I do think you're right on the money about the whole double bubble setup and us seeing that played here. It has become so popular across all levels of play. And I mean, if you're a good team at executing it, it is absolutely oppressive, right? It is very strongly oriented attacking composition. It allows you a lot of mobility and it allows you a surprising amount of sustain.
Yeah, definitely. The one challenge with these teams, of course, they're going to be around Diamond and Elo. This is the intermediate division for GGNA. Double Bubble is very reliant on the tanks using their bubbles, the Winston Shield, as well as the Zarya team barrier. As long as those are timed correctly, the Winston will not get melted faster than a snowball in Arizona and will actually have a chance to survive for more than 3 seconds. Otherwise, they're going to be given a swift kick back to their own spawn.
Ready for battle.
Snowball in the in the Middle East probably wouldn't last too long either, all things considered, which is where Oasis is. But here we are, and we are starting off on City Center, and you can take a look at the respective lineups there. Both Shillelagh and Obscorp showing us the Symmetras early on. Other than that, well, no, actually, not other than that, including that, identical compositions on both sides. So coming out immediately on the mirror matchup, which might, on paper, Acronator, favor HOTSOUP just a little bit, considering they are probably the stronger side.
Possibly, you have the Symmetras swapping immediately over to the Tracer, and you're seeing Bok Bok on the Zarya versus Cashews on the D.Va. So Tidal Typhoon are going to want to take these fights rather quickly because they're not going to have a ton of tank sustainability like HOTSOUP does. Okay.
Bok Bok just gets the early kill right there. Cashews, unfortunately, not up with the Winston. The D.Va not really providing the necessary kind of eat that they wanted. Suze is on the high ground here. Will go in for a couple of shots as well. Suze laying down the pressure there on the Ashe, but she can't quite bring any of her targets down. Fighting a bit of an unfair fight right there against a Mercy Pocket, but the Pocket will come back, and now Owie's just in, trying to hunt down that Ashe Mercy duo. Instead, he gets a bit of an Owie, has to fall back, but it'll be Horseface who strikes early on as Shillelagh will go down next. Owie continuing to apply pressure, but Cashew is there to clean it up, and this fight is one extended engagement as Bok Bok just tries to back up, throws a bubble out, got some good sustain and got some healing, and will survive through all of that to reset the lines here.
Very touch and go engagement there, especially from Tidal Typhoon. It didn't quite look like they had the dive set up. Granted, Gapshot died so early in that fight, it's difficult to restabilize, especially when Suze is hitting shots like that.
Or just lost their head right there, quite literally. The res will come in from Wharf. Owie dives in to try and contest it and is bought down by Gapshot, a tank victory, but Suze again on the Ashe, just annihilating there. Star Wars King down, Obscorp out, and then they'll take Cashew's mech as well to add to the total, so the defense will remain resolute.
I think that Bob from Suze may have been a fat finger, but then again, when she's hitting shots like that, no one cares. You don't need Bob at that point. But Tidal Typhoon really need to just get in. They need to engage. Now without Scorp onto the McCree, that might be a little bit more difficult. You're going to have less of a dive. Pulse Bomb coming in from Shillelagh, but otherwise, Tidal Typhoon just have to get in there.
Well, Suze still not divested from the top of the gazebo here. Finally, the pressure being applied. They'll try and jump and go for a kill, but it'll be Shillelagh who dies early on. Suze remains atop this gazebo, will not be divested from this location, firing a couple shots down on the heels. Always there from Murph, just coming back in and helping out when needed. Can't bring down the shots right there, though. Horseface and Owie are out. There goes Bok Bok. Suze finally dies, and that probably signals the end here. A little bit of a contest from Shillelagh isn't really going to do anything but delay the inevitable.
Oh. Yeah, okay, finally had Tidal Typhoon, get a few kills. HOTSOUP using a couple of ultimates and not really finding much value out of them. Thankfully, Tidal Typhoon didn't really invest too much in theirs, so they should have a decent amount of time to just cycle through theirs. You know, they have both the tank ultimates, they're going to have the DPS ults up soon, and they are going to build up the nano boost from Star Wars King so incredibly fast that they're going to be able to play this nice and slow, or really fast if they just want to go balls to the wall.
Now, for those of you who are concerned at the moment that we have HOTSOUP's name without the exclamation point in all caps, don't worry. We know the soup is hot, and we will make the necessary corrections as soon as we can. There it is. It's just come up on screen. So HOTSOUP continues to fight here, and they will fight. And D.Va Boom is up on the high ground now, just putting that pressure on, trying to look for an early target. Now he will drop. Suze, however, unleashing the Bob right there. The counter Bob coming out on the other side. Shillelagh continuing to struggle a little bit there on the Tracer as the two Bobs just shoot at one another in a little recreation of the Spider-Man meme right down the point. And that will just about wrap this one up, I think. Suze does get a cheeky pick in on the backside, but she will die for the effort. And now it's just a matter of being careful here if you're gap shot 1. He's a little overextended. Horseface battling back in. They're going to use this Valkyrie to try and restart the fight. A nano boost coming out here as well, so an empowered pair of scientists there brawling on the point, but it's Owie who gets the better of it all. Pops the Primal, take Cashews out of the equation in BB Diva form. And I wonder if that might just trigger this. 99% now ticking down. There's not a lot of opportunity to touch. It will finally get here. Unfortunately, that leaves Worf in a rather dangerous position as Boom is taken down. There goes Worf. So 2 key players here out for this Tidal Typhoon roster. Owie continuing to put the pressure on, leaning into the leading edge of the engagement. Will take down their opposite number in gap shot. All right, now pushing forward, Bok just trying to clean out the last of these stragglers, and there they go. And there goes stage 1, map 1 in favor of HOTSOUP.
Definitely not a complete roll over Tidal Typhoon, but Tidal Typhoon was also rather slow to start the round, and that just gave up so much free control percentage for HOTSOUP. Realistically, once they did gain control of the point, their dive composition was a little bit less risky as opposed to HOTSOUP's. You saw Owie just melting in the fights that HOTSOUP lost trying to retake the point. That's, like I said, bubble management is so key into winning these engagements, but eventually HOTSOUP just decided, screw it, just throw every ultimate under the sun into the fight. We only need to win one more, and from there it's pretty easy when you have more cues to press.
Round 2.
Indeed. All the cues in the world to press right here as we get started. Shillelagh coming out on the Echo. On the other side, Boom will continue to play the Ashe. Sue's there matching on the Tracer. Other than that, things looking a little bit the same. Murph making that Brigitte pick as these initial engagements go up. Obscorp just trying to get some damage in with the Echo. There, Shillelagh just gets melted again, and the second DPS here on the side of HOTSOUP has had a bit of a rough go of it, but I say that Star Wars King is already down in this fight as well, so the casualties getting evened out. Suze will be killed in return. Obscorp is just falling back right there, and Owie descends like a cat upon a mouse and just takes him out. And meanwhile, Boom is doing big work here. Worf gets the res in on Obscorp. Owie does manage to get gap shot, but just kind of falling back. They're not really giving this engagement up, though. They will try and go back in here on the back of Owie's play. Owie just takes Boom out of the equation early on, and then he is melted. A major Owie right there for the main tank player.
I was about to say Suze is doing a great job of being a thorn in Tidal Typhoon's side, but probably not the best timing. A predetermined caster curse. I guess this Cashews gets the final blow there. But Tidal Typhoon actually taking that first fight did a really good job of taking out HOTSOUP's DPS early on in that fight. You can see Shillelagh's ult charge on the Echo is basically non-existent. It's almost passive ult charge right now.
Well, double bubble, toil and trouble. Primal Rage coming out on the top deck. Gap shots out of it. Cashews is down. Owie gets Boom here as well. Continues to put the pressure on as Owie will clean up Star Wars King. The Primal Rage there, huge from the main tank player, and he adds Obscorp to the end of that as well.
You got that's just one of those ultimates that you have to track. You know, you have to know that the enemy Winston is going to have the Primal Rage. You maybe want to hold closer to the doorways. That was just a misplay on Tidal Typhoon's part. However, Silver Linings, they have a good amount of ultimates, and because they won the first fight so convincingly and didn't allow HOTSOUP to build up many of their own, they're going to have a ton to invest here.
A nano boost coming out now, and now he will use that to his heart's content. Poor Star Wars King there can't do anything but blink as the electricity rockets away through him. They will continue to fight. A Bob now being invested, so they're going into it with the res on Star Wars King. They will get their main support back. Pinned in the grab and absolutely annihilated, and here comes Boom and Obscorp, the 2 DPS for Tidal Typhoon, making some waves right here, trying to clean this up. Shillelagh gets caught looking, and Boom adds another one to the kill count, flips this point back, and a very tight match on this second stage so far, Acronator.
Yeah, definitely. The one concern I have right now is that Tidal Typhoon needed 5 ultimates to take that fight. Now, at the very least, you got to claw out every bit of control percentage that you can, because they are currently in the lead, but it's so very minimal, and they only have to duplicate. So if Obscorp can get a really nice Primal Rage or like a rally from the duplicate, then I could see them doing something with this. Okay.
Yeah, comes out early there. Gap shot not able to escape. Worf dies as well. Boom does add a kill here, but you feel like he's kind of spitting into the wind, all things considered. Cashews trying to back up and trying to protect Boom, but it will not happen. Cashews eats an anti as well and just gets juggled into the corner, blows himself up to clear that one out. And the Primal kind of, well, it was. I guess it was worth it. I don't know what. I don't know what to think about that one, to be honest, Academic.
That one's going on Reddit, I suppose, or that's what Ali was thinking. He saw the flashing lights in his mind's eye, but either way, coming into this next fight, Tidal Typhoon kind of have to take a dry fight. I mean, they don't have anything. The Nano Boost and the Bob are going to build up somewhat fast, but not anytime soon, or Shillelagh and both support ultimates on the side of HOTSOUP are ready to go.
Fortunately, the death of Wharf there will probably signal the end of this before it even begins, and if that didn't, Gap Shot 1 going down most certainly will. Owie did get lost in the muddle right there, so perhaps an opportunity for aggression, but they will have to be most cautious indeed. That 85% number just hovering on the horizon, and there it is, passed, which means we are solidly in one fight territory here. Shillelagh is sitting on a clone should they choose to use it. Horseface, I'm sorry, and Murph, they have them right here. The pressure coming in as Sue sticks a pulse bomb at the start of the fight, and that's boom, just done and dusted. Here comes Owie charging in. Out a bit of a nano boost there. The clone coming in from Shillelagh onto the Winston player as well. Obscorp, though, is reaping an own little toll, and a good bit of peel there coming out from Worf to keep the McCree alive as he fights his way into this. Horseface goes down. It's just Murph who's left. And wow, HOTSOUP getting a bit of a bloody nose right there at the hands of Tidal Typhoon.
How did Obscorp survive? He went to like 5 HP 3 separate times in that one fight. And he lit up the kill feed. I think got like 3 or 4 kills alone. Now they have both DPS ultimates. They're going to have Graviton Surge. They're going to have Rally. And HOTSOUP invested almost everything they had into that fight because they thought it was won. Now they have, what, the Primal Rage and maybe the Graviton Surge mid-fight. But I mean, Tidal Typhoon has an embarrassment of riches coming into this next fight. This is looking really good for them.
Well, Owie is a bit of a worker with these Primal Rages if they can get him going. The High Noon coming out right there, and Obscorp will get Bok, but Horseface adds another one there for the aggressive support play. Horseface in a little bit of danger because that Bob is in the general area, and Gap Shot, well, he just gets bullied out on the top deck. Murph pummeling him into the dirt right there. There are still few bodies contesting. It's mostly Star Wars King, Boom going down as well, and it was a valiant fight from Tidal Typhoon, but at the end of the day, Stage 2 and Map 1 there, falling to HOTSOUP here at the start of the finals.
That's so tragic from Tidal Typhoon. They did the one cardinal sin of Double Bubble is you can't get that split up. Your Winston is allowed to go a little bit farther away, right? The Echo maybe a little bit, but everyone was just all the way across the point. There was no ability to peel, and they just got sectioned off and destroyed. I mean, you had the Brigitte and the Zarya on Tidal Typhoon investing both their ultimates and dying within like what 1 second flat. You can't have that. You have to rally around your Brig who's using Rally. You have to collapse in onto the Graviton Surge, and they just didn't allow themselves the opportunity to do that because everyone was off 1v1ing.
You make a very valid point right there. It is so easy to get lost, right, in the ether of this composition where you have the Winston who is so fast moving in terms of his ability to dive around the map. You've often got a fast DPS in the pocket as well, and you can kind of string yourselves out and sort of get punished for that. And I think you're right. That is what happened there, but it was a good fight from Tidal Typhoon. I think they definitely gave HOTSOUP a bit of a run on that second point. You know, we saw them battle it back almost even. Stevens right there was just unfortunate that they lost that fight. It's good peel from the supports, which is always nice to see, but unfortunately, peeling alone, not enough to win the day.
Yeah, definitely. I think if Tidal Typhoon can come together a little bit more, just clean up that one small thing, you know, you have their coaches give them a little pep talk. That's definitely fixable over the course of a singular series, even in between 2 maps. And I think the series could go the distance if they can clean that up. Otherwise, HOTSOUP, with their current focus, I think, are looking to be the favorites coming into this, especially taking into account these teams' recent history, facing each other.
Yeah, you would think that they have a pretty good understanding of one another after the original series, and I'm sure a little bit of research has been done on their end. The next map will be King's Row. By the way, HOTSOUP will start off on the defense there at the old classic, that old chestnut that we got to see whenever we get into these kind of situations. I feel like the hybrid map du jour is King's Row, and well, it's well-trod ground, and I don't know that there will be too much tactical innovation going into this map.
Yeah, no, honestly, I'd be somewhat surprised if we even saw the double bubble here. It's probably going to be the Ryan Zarya, May McCree, Lucio Baptiste, just because that's that's what works. Maybe like the Hanzo instead of the Kree, maybe a little bit of variation in that regard. Maybe even see if it goes to extra round, something like the AC-130 where they teleport the Bastion up onto the high ground. But other than that, just expect stereotypical brawl. These teams run it down main. I mean, we're on scrims row. What else do you expect?
You're right. The old punch up the gut does kind of seem to be the King's Row style in a lot of respects. I did see some Hanzo played here the other day. It worked out all right. Those dragons still very deadly, especially in that congested
Ready for
second
battle.
streets phase. But we will see the lineups coming out here. And well, pretty standard stuff, a brawl all the way around. Obscorp showing us some different heroes right there, but usually that Widowmaker is not long for this world in terms of picks. That gets swapped off quite quickly.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Boom unless he it's like a at least a good pick onto like the May or like a Lucio or Baptiste, and then maybe if he goes out of spawn a little bit further and finds some more picks, then I could see the Widow staying, but that's more rare than not. The Junkrat, on the other hand, I have seen on occasion, and it can work, but it's not necessarily the most common thing. What they have to do in that case, if they run out with it, is to just focus Aui's shield, because if you can deny the Reinhardt that defensive ability, the Diva's defense matrix from Bak Bak is only going to last so long, so that's a huge amount of free damage then coming in for Boom and Obscorp.
Cashews there on the Zarya, so kind of a difference in styles in terms of off-tank. The initial ice wall from Shillelagh could be a little bit better. Suze does go down, but Bak Bak is there to trade it back out, so two Cowboys down, and the fight's still going. Gapshot now trying to push up the middle here. The ice wall comes out right there, and Gapshot's actually going to use that for a little bit of added cover, so the ice wall betrays its mistress. Gapshot pushing forward one more time. The Immortality Field invested early on. Obscorp does get Shillelagh down. Still fighting, though. Horseface finally getting in. That support will just not stop fragging out in these particular maps. You love to see it. And the death of Gapshot here seems to be ushering Tidal Typhoon back. I say that, though. Suze is down. They've got a tire here as well if they choose to use it. But owie, he just goes off. Oh, no! You've all been thrown out of the hotel. You made too much noise in the rooms, and Owie is there to make sure it's all done and dusted. Cashews carried into the back, and Owie will add one more to the kill total because, my lord, why not?
Okay, well, I said before he was just going for the play of the game, but I think that's really just invested into his DNA at this point. That 3K shatter probably saved the entire fight and prevented a tick from being taken. So crucially, they only have about 2.5 minutes remaining. Tidal Typhoon have lots to work with, but they don't have the Riptire anymore.
Wow, the man, the myth, the legend, another ice wall coming up right there. And Shillelagh, unfortunately, not having a lot of success with that. The icicles are a little bit more on point as Blizzard comes out here. There's the amplification matrix as well, and a sound barrier. Because why not? Throw one more amplification matrix in there, too. Hey, if you got ults, use them. You can't take them with you. Owie there gets Cashews on the tail end of that, but High Horseface is down.
Yeah, this is going to be rather difficult for HOTSOUP to hold this upcoming bomb. Okay. Oh, no! You're kidding.
Gets two, and then Owie's on with the aggro again, and the hammer will not stop swinging. He's got two more to add to the cabinet, and he'll fall back in. So a very aggressive play from HOTSOUP paying off bigly.
This tempo from HOTSOUP is, quite frankly, not diamond level. This is probably upwards of master. It's because they're just playing so incredibly fast and rather clean for the most part. They're over-investing in ultimates a little bit, but when we're winning the fight, it doesn't really matter too much.
A tire now winding its way around. Obscorp just looking for a good target. An Immortality Field will come out there. The tire rests inside the hotel. It will come over the top. And the man, the myth, the legend is down. And now that they have taken out the raid boss, will that be enough for them to push this one through on the win? Obscorp's got a good kill. Cashews in on the action. Obscorp got another one. And they will continue to push forward. But unfortunately, a pause coming in.
It looks like we had Boom disconnect, I believe, at the very last second there. So
yeah.
the McCree from Tidal Typhoon, I don't know how close they were to High Noon. I believe they'd used it the previous fight, so I'm not sure how tragic the old loss there will be. But either way, I mean, that fight's completely won. That point's probably won from Tidal Typhoon, unless HOTSOUP pull off the comeback of a lifetime, which, I mean, don't rule them out quite yet, but not likely. I wouldn't bet on it.
Oh, well, fair enough. And Good thing that's illegal. I wouldn't bet on it either. But I'll be honest with you. We got a good moment to reflect here so far on the story of this match. And it really does seem to be Aui's show. The main tank there on the side of HOTSOUP just looks like a dominant presence. And I don't know if he's shot calling, but he's certainly playing into this aggressive tempo that HOTSOUP has chosen very well. I mean, we just saw it right there in that fight, right? Aui dies first. I believe he did die first. And then suddenly HOTSOUP just kind of collapses. That's not to say that the rest of the team for HOTSOUP is particularly bad, because they are certainly not. It's just interesting to see how much of an engine Aui is for this vehicle of a team.
Yeah, definitely. I've coached plenty of teams, especially around this diamond level. And generally, what you try to instill into them is the idea that the main tank is the leader. What they say goes in the heat of the moment. So when you're losing that leader, that Reinhardt, especially in this kind of brawl rushy-ish composition, it's very difficult to stabilize after losing him, especially first in a fight. Like the easiest way to stabilize is probably to take out the enemy Reinhardt, which is difficult, especially when you're running the Diva as opposed to the Zarya, which is probably going to have a little bit more damage to her, you know? So it's really hard to stabilize after that, and it's no real surprise that Tidal Typhoon just washed through the points after taking down Aoi.
Yeah, it's been interesting in that regard. I mean, I think on a lot of respects, these two teams look relatively level. The Sue's had a moment where she was kind of destroying on Oasis, but other than that, the DPS have kind of been on point against one another. But really, Aoi has just been a huge difference maker, and HOTSOUP supports have also been very good at staying alive and offering support. But as you correctly predicted, Acronator, it does appear that this fight is just done and dusted. There won't be much of an effort to recontest.
You do have Boom swapping over to the Hanzo now as well. I think just saying, well, we already lost the High Noon, might as well go for more poke damage.
Well, Murph throwing out the amplification matrix there, and I genuinely think you might want that one back. It does slow this down just a little bit, but honestly, they had to back up to collect the card anyway. Pressure coming in, Boom trying to find an off angle, and he's got company in the form of a giant bunny-themed mech. He will back up right there. He fires some arrows at it, though, and Bok might be in a little bit of danger right there. Hello, Peel. Worf comes sailing in over the top. Boom does die, but not before Bok is also taken down, so a bit of a Pyrrhic victory right there for the Hanzo, but still good trades coming in, and Tidal Typhoon making a bit of a stand on the archway here as Horseface is just annihilated, and now the card continuing to roll forward into the streets.
I know what Bok was trying to do there, prevent the flank, and you kind of have to do that against the Hanzo in particular, because Boom could have very easily gotten a random headshot, but at the same time, Boom definitely got more value out of that fight in distracting the Diva, because Choose had a completely free Graviton Surge. Half of the damage was completely tanked by HOTSOUP's face, and they didn't really have any answer to it.
Well, Tidal Typhoon trying to back up right here, but the freeze comes in. The Dragon's thrown out on the other side. Unfortunately, Horseface yet again getting a kill. Murph is down on the other side. A Diva Bomb comes sailing over the top, but no joy on that. Still, Hotsport and Cashew doing big work. Good shatter coming out there as well from Gab Shot, but can they make something out of it? The Sound Barrier invested. The High Noon coming out. Boom continuing to shred there at point blank range on the Hanzo. He'll get a little revenge on Bok and then continue to push this bad boy forward. He'll add Zeus to the total as well. And Boom coming alive here on the Hanzo in the streets.
He almost has another dragon. That's ridiculous, especially because he built up the first dragons rather fast. This one's even faster. I don't know how that quite happened, but they're probably going to have grab dragons. Might not even need the grab for that, in all honesty, the way that HOTSOUP has been positioning. And this is final contention for second point.
Oh, the dragons are eaten! Oh, what a play from Bok. It would have been devastating. And that ripped through the flank, but the Diva player was there. Still, Worf doing his best imitation of Horseface over on the other side. Will add a kill here. Aoi did lead the charge back in, so they managed to contest and hold around the point. Now, Gapshot, he's doing his own charge back in with the rest of the team. The Shatter coming out there. Aoi unleashing hell as well. Sound Barrier dropped in the middle of all that, but Bok is down. Both Immortality Fields were invested right here. 40 seconds left on the clock. The Tire comes sailing in from Obscorp. That's two. Both the supports down here for HOTSOUP, and this might be the end of their little bit of Thermopylae right here, and it will be done and dusted. Second point completed, 2 minutes in the time bank.
The unsung hero there for Tidal Typhoon, I have to give to Worf. They did such an incredible job of keeping everyone alive, using beat at the perfect time, even getting a few kills in there. It's not very often that the Lucio is obviously being a soft carry, but in that case, Worf was definitely there, especially after losing the Dragons and the Hanzo early on in the fight. The rest of the team did a great job of focusing down Bok Bok, free Graviton Surge for Cashews right there, and already they're pushing forward.
Amplification Matrix in, Sound Barrier in, and that's just a cleanup fight for HOTSOUP. Everybody to the front line and everybody back to spawn on the side of Tidal, Typhoon, and Suze will add 1 to the total, catching Morph looking, and that's the punishment, I guess, you get for the soft carry.
Yeah, pretty much. But coming into this next fight, the thing I'm going to be looking at the most, especially because we're in like 1-2 maybe fight territory, okay, is Shillelagh's grab.
Oh
Blizzard.
no, Shillelagh swings the corner, drops the Blizzard. Owie gets 1. Good play by Obscorp to trade it back. Now Gap Shot 1 gets another one in here as well. By Horseface trying to trade it back out, but it is not the best situation for HOTSOUP. I don't think they expected their ambush to quite go this way. Horseface is down, Shillelagh is out, Owie's dead, and Obscorp turns a little bit of a trick by the enemy team into an absolute treat for his side, and they will continue to push forward right here. HOTSOUP beating the retreat and just trying to regroup. Cashew is nearly at a grab here as well.
They've been doing such a good job of focusing down Bok Bok as well, so this grab is probably not going to get eaten. Yeah.
Oh no, it does get eaten. Obscorp gets one with the tire. The Dragons come sailing through, but no real kills from it thanks to a well-placed Immortality Field, but Obscorp has 3 on the fight. The charge coming in right there. Owie and Gapshot are off the map, but well, there's really not a lot left to contest the cart. The Amplification Matrix comes down. The Immortality Field is in. Horseface just doing their darndest to be a nuisance right here and doing a darn good job of it indeed. You see Shillelagh come in, but he's blasted into the upper atmosphere. Owie back in now on the ball, going to classic ball stall formation. Bok Bok dropping in here as well. Sound Barrier invested on the side of Tidal, Typhoon to keep this fight going. You'll see the drop in from Suze on the left-hand side, pushing up, trying to get in. Suze contesting now. She will go down. 4 meters left here. Shillelagh drops in, knocked out of the way, and that should be the last attempt to deny. They do push it to overtime there, Acronator, though, at the tail end of all of that.
Kings Row isn't necessarily the hardest map to full capture, however, full capturing is also somewhat impressive, right? Because it does create a continuation condition for HOTSOUP. They have to capture all 3 points to even continue on and get a chance to win. Otherwise, Tidal Typhoon will even up the series. I think if they're going to continue on with the same composition, which I don't blame them if they do for HOTSOUP, they need to play more into the fact that if Tidal Typhoon are running the Zarya, Shillelagh is going to have free blizzards. They didn't really take advantage of that fact as often as they probably should have, because there's nothing really to eat the blizzard. I guess you could get a stun out of it maybe with the McCree when Boom was on the McCree, but otherwise, I mean, Shillelagh had free reign and just didn't really find too many like one fights with just the blizzard, which what are we seeing? Well, I guess they're on offense, so they're allowed to meme a bit in spot. So don't take HOTSOUP's composition too seriously quite yet. If they run out on it, that's a different story.
Yeah, that would be a different story indeed. Usually, though, like I said about the Widowmaker on the other side, we see these swaps come in. Shillelagh here showing us a Bastion, but again, you know, we 10 seconds in, can't quite make the determination right there. Cashew's clearly giving away that they have a Zarya. That's okay. Boom is showing them the Hanzo too, just to be generous. Now Shillelagh is playing up on the Mei. You see Suze coming out on the Symmetra. So Symmetra will, by the looks of it, be staying right here. The teleporter remaining. The charge coming in. They're going to get very aggressive around the bus. Suze is already down. Immortality Field's down as well, and that will lead to Owie being sent to the grave, and then they're just going to go over there and bully Shillelagh as well. So Tidal Typhoon delivering a little bit of HOTSOUP's medicine straight to their face.
I really like that call to hard engage onto HOTSOUP there, because with the Sigma and the Symmetra, they don't necessarily want to play this hyper aggressive brawl composition that Tidal Typhoon can with the Zarya and the Junkrat. So they just get in their faces. HOTSOUP wanted to poke. Of course, now they swap over to a more stereotypical composition. They can get a little bit more brawly moving forward.
Another ice wall coming up there from Shillelagh, and again, a little bit bottled, but that's all right. They're getting very aggressive on the back alleyway here. Both the Immortality Fields going out, and there comes the Amplification Matrix. Star Wars King will use that to annihilate. The Shatter coming out there as well. Catches Bok charged into a wall. Gapshot does die for that play, though, so a little bit unfortunate there on the side of Reinhardt. The fight will be won, though. HOTSOUP resetting back at their spawn doors.
Yeah, if they really wanted to stall the points out for a little bit longer, Boom could just invest the dragons if they really needed to. However, Aoi might have a free shatter, which I think he wants really badly. He's looking for it.
Wow, yeah, he's looking for it. You can guarantee that. Unfortunately, the main tank there for Gapshot is back in. The Dragons come sailing across. Murph in a lot of trouble here. Murph is down. Gapshot rotating through the hotel, but a good shatter coming out from Aoi. Can they follow up on it? They certainly can. The kill feed lights up bluer than Monday, and that will be enough right there for HOTSOUP to win.
Yeah, no, you're not going to have Tidal Typhoon contesting first point anymore. They're probably not even going to get to contest the choke point, especially with Aoi pushed up so far forward. However, they do have a decent amount to slow the progress of the cart. Actually, they are pushing up rather aggressively, so they might want to at least hold that corner, especially with Obscorp having the tire rather soon.
Aoi charges in. The immortality field there very much saving his life. Shillelagh will get Star Wars King in the blizzard. A very nasty little brawl in the streets right here. Panic on the streets of London, and unfortunately, Typhoon panics a little too hard, and that will be the end right there. HOTSOUP going to start pushing this cart forward. 4 minutes, I'm sorry, on the time bank.
That was a lot more like what I'd like to see from Shillelagh's Mei. They could still do good on trying to section gap shot off with their Mei walls, but the usage of the Blizzard right there was a lot more aggressive. It worked a lot better. As you saw, the fight was basically won purely off of just the Blizzard, and that's kind of what you want, because you don't necessarily need to combo Blizzard off with anything. And now Tidal Typhoon are in death's knell for second point.
Oh, the Dragons come sailing in. The immortality field was there from Murph, but it won't do anything. Bok throws the bomb in. Desperation play to try and shut this aggression down, and unfortunately, Shillelagh will not be saved. Can Bok escape? That is the question. Bok making a good old-fashioned run for it, trying to get back to the spawn. Goes into the bookstore to get out of the sightline, and now Bok just charges in, pistol blazing. Look at him go. He's trying to beat the Reinhardt to death with the butt of the gun, but oh, it's nothing but a brutal stagger at the end of the day. Heroic, but perhaps misguided.
Bok, maybe a little bit too hopeful there in the disengage. There was no way they were getting out with their mech. And that killed, what, like 15, 20 seconds off the clock? And that's exactly what Tidal Typhoon wanted. Coming into this next fight, the ultimates are somewhat even. I'd say Tidal Typhoon have a slight advantage, especially with a spawn being a little bit closer at this point. I'd expect probably for like a beat to engage and maybe a shatter. Oh no.
Wow, Suze just pops the high noon early and gets one on Warp, but the shatter coming back the other way. There's a tire in here as well. Suze backed into the subway and destroyed. Oh no, and it's a bit of a rough attack here from HOTSOUP again. Bok, the lone survivor, trying to flee back to the team, and it will not be allowed.
Yeah, no, divas are not their friends. Unfortunately, Cashews will not have the Graviton Surge, crucially, for this upcoming engagement with Tidal Typhoon, so Boom's going to have to figure out something with the Dragons. It looks like they're looking for a cheeky flank, probably waiting for some recon from their team. Or to know when to... Yep, there we go.
There it is. The Dragons coming down. They're all trapped in the alley. They'll force up into it. Unfortunately, Suze is down. The immortality field dropping on the backside. And Boom, well, he's just been given a target-rich environment right here. Murph is down. He'll go for another one. He won't even need to because the rest of the defensive side is there. And once more, poor Bok will get staggered out.
The one thing I think that's going to be HOTSOUP's silver bullet for the second point, if they do capture it, is probably going to be Shillelagh's Blizzard. It's taken a few fights to build up a new Blizzard just because second point's been a little bit rough for them, to say the least. But again, there's not really anything to deal with the Blizzard, especially since Worf just used the beat. That would provide a little bit of sustain at least, but they don't have a Diva. They don't have a McCree to stun out of it, so unless they get to magically kill Shillelagh mid-animation, which is unlikely, they just gonna have to tank the Blizzard or disengage.
Oh, Amplification Matrix comes out. There's the Blizzard as well into the grab. Shillelagh will get one. The sound barrier invested here. Nothing wasted by this HOTSOUP side. Everybody forward. Suze gets two, and that should mean a second point completion. But my lord, Tidal Typhoon really putting up a fight there at the entrance and making them pay for every bloody inch of those streets.
Yeah, definitely. Now you have HOTSOUP pushing up even more aggressively to that final turn and third point. And they really have to take that space, otherwise Tidal Typhoon are just going to push forward. They're actually investing bomb into this? Okay,
Well,
why do I question it?
Cashews gets caught out. Now Owie and Suze apply some gas right here and run right over the Tidal Typhoon side. Suze adds another one to the bag. Obscorp will go down, and Worf, he tries to escape, but he's no Mr. Spock at the end of the day. He will go down. 1 minute, 45 seconds left.
I'm just gonna stop questioning Box Bombs because they see something that I don't every single time, and it's been working so incredibly well. The tire coming out. Interesting to see what they do with this, but I mean, the defense in the meantime is having a tough time pushing out.
Oh, the shatter coming out there. Suze gets one with the high noon. There's no one to touch the point. Oh, goes through. Whoa. And May, she'll go sailing right across your screens. My lord, if you have children at home, avert your eyes. It's supposed to be a family-friendly game.
Family-friendly game where the victors of this map in particular are delivering an EMP on top of Anomic City.
I was going to mention that in yesterday's broadcast, and I was like, no, you know what? That's just, oh boy. And this is everybody's favorite map, too. Don't forget that. So all of you who attack on King's Row, just know what you're doing when you pull this one out.
That the devs of Diablo would be morbid sometimes. But either way.
Who would have predicted?
HOTSOUP are now in a win or draw scenario, and yeah, I feel like this might not be a meme, the AC-130 tease, as, I mean, they have a minute and a half, and they gotta capture a singular tick. Tidal Typhoon, on the other hand, I don't see any reason why they'd have to swap off. This honestly has been working rather well, despite kind of fumbling at the very end of third point there. I think if they had been able to recollect themselves a little bit more cleanly, they could have stalled for at least until overtime and gotten a chance to still win the map, but I think right now, if you're Tidal Typhoon, you definitely want that draw. You do not want HOTSOUP going to match point.
You say that, but I mean, that minute 24 seconds can evaporate awful quick. So we better see Shillelagh do some good work here with the Bastion, because they will invest in the teleporter. Shillelagh just sets up on the door. They're trying to bait out the aggressive attack. The teleporter already used. They'll lose the immortality field, and they'll lose Gap Shot 1, but Suze is down in return. Unfortunately, the death of the main tank might slow them down a little bit. No, Owie is here as well. There goes Horseface. A good stand by Tidal Typhoon. Caught a little off guard by the Bastion, but not enough.
And that's exactly what they had to do. Similarly, with the last round when they saw the Symmetra and the Sigma, they just, okay, never mind. Bak teasing the Roadhog, but we're not going to be seeing that quite yet. Oh, dear, that's an opening.
Boom gets boomed. Here comes Owie leading the charge. The legend themselves. Unfortunately, Suze will go down. This immortality field just keeping the entire Tidal Typhoon side alive through this storm of violence. 30 seconds on the clock. They're still fighting. Look at this, a pure brawl on point. There goes Worf. There goes Cashews getting it on the action. Oh, and the kill feed lights up red. And it's 15 seconds left, down and out. Can they recontest here? I don't know. They've got no real person who's in position to do that. Horseface may be the one to do it if they can make it out, but they are still dead. No, they're coming out of spawn. They come speeding in. 5 seconds on the clock. Owie's trying to get there. Owie will touch, and they will re-engage. The ice wall coming out, but Shillelagh, he misses it up again. You'll see the dragon sailing in. Boom! With 3! And that might just force the draw. Horseface tries to fight that one out, but he's down. Boom gets Shillelagh to end it all, and Worf claims the final kill. And that is a draw on Scrims Row.
Well, it's not a win for Tidal Typhoon, but that is really good for a momentum shift. That's exactly what they needed. Maybe wanted a little bit more, but they got to deal with what they got, and they are not out of this series by any stretch. HOTSOUP still has to win 2 maps to win this series. No real surprise. The Reddit is real.
That was so brutal, and he tacks 2 more on at the end of that as well, I think. But ladies and gentlemen, a draw on King's Row will prolong this series just a little bit. The action still heating up between HOTSOUP and Tidal Typhoon. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of this intermediate grand final after this break. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Hellhole. No, that's a city in the UK. GitGud Season 7 Intermediate Grand Finals. It's HOTSOUP versus Tidal Typhoon. I'm Corbeck, joined by Acreator here, and that 1-0 score line, a bit of a deception for you all at home, because our last map, King's Row, well, it was a draw, so there's not really a column for that, is there, Acreator? There's just a general air of disappointment.
Yeah, well, if you're Tidal Typhoon, you kind of have to take what you can get at this moment in time. They're going to have to take this next map to even up the series. They just really have to be happy with the small victory of not letting HOTSOUP get to the series points quite yet. Side note, I am greatly enjoying the argument in stream chat as to whether the soup is watered down or not.
I don't know. The soup looked pretty spicy across most of those maps. They got a hefty dose of owie in there as their secret spice. Unfortunately, not enough kick there at the end of King's Row. And we will go to Rialto for our escort map. So the sunny, surprisingly clean canals of Venice coming up next. And well, I can't help but wonder if we'll get a little bit more of the same here from HOTSOUP, kind of pushing hard on the defense, making Tidal Typhoon work for it, and then completing attack run of their own.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like Hot Soup's going to be staying on the defense, so they're going to have the opportunity to set a win condition if they can prevent a full capture, which Rialto third point's a lot harder to complete than say like King's Row. So we might be seeing a second point hold, or really a third point hold, or a first point hold. The Rialto, all 3 points, in all honesty, are pretty easy to hold at certain points because the defenders
True.
have varying advantages, shall we say. In terms of compositions, it's hard to say. We've seen so much from both of these teams. Brawl is rather popular. Double Bubble, not so much. Occasionally, you'll see something like Double Shield, but I'm not entirely sure what these teams are comfortable with right now because I feel like both of them are probably a little bit rattled at this point. Neither of them have the series going quite the way they expected, so I wouldn't be shocked to see some experimentation.
I wouldn't be shocked either as we do get started here. The Campo Monteverde there, and down to the Calle Nova, aka one of the corners of death here on this Rialto map. So hard to get around. HOTSOUP showing us some flyers to add to their double bubble. And on the interesting side of things, Tidal Typhoon showing us the old pulled pork. You don't see that one very often.
Yeah, it's normally you'd see something like a Sigma being played as opposed to the Roadhog. Granted, they're still on the attacking spawn, so at the very least they have a few more seconds to swap off if they see fit. Otherwise, this isn't a terrible composition. I'm going to be interested to see how they play into the double bubble if they keep it. Okay,
I'll be
running out.
interested to see that as well. They are going to stick on the side of Tidal Typhoon with the pulled pork comp, and they are being given a lot of room to run as Suze just takes Obscorp out of the action. And I don't know that they'll even be able to get a res off or anything. That's just done and dusted right there. Boom now pushing up in the back lines, trying to hunt some supports just a little bit. Gonna have their work cut out for them here, though, all things considered. Horseface, not particularly bad. Murph, well, they're just gonna fly away. Horseface up there on the high ground, too. Well protected. Could maybe go for a hunt on Suze if they wanted to, but mostly just happy to put in some dulcetory rounds here from the low ground and fall back towards the high ground as Star Wars King goes down, and Suze will add Obscorp in. Hey, why not get Worf as well? Boom just jumps into the water and ends it all. The tragedy of his teammates getting wiped by Suze, just too much to bear.
Definitely having a little bit of difficulty finding a lot of value from the Tracer there. Yeah, not too shocked to see the Widowmaker pick come out. Gives a little bit more range than what Suze has, and not necessarily too tragic in terms of the lack of ultimate. Okay, well, yeah, okay, Boom is starting to feel it a little bit.
Well, they'll continue to push forward here. Obscore putting in the damage on the top deck. Cashews gets one there as well as Horseface is drawn in, and there comes the barrage. 2 big kills. Bok does get the revenge trade, but that is all it is, just a bit of revenge. This car will continue to sail forward despite Shillelagh's best efforts on the Echo as Cashew cleans up another one. And I used to play on some teams with Cashews back in the day, I believe, when he did, if that is the Cashews I'm thinking it is, when he played on the console side of things, and he does like himself a good little bit of Roadhog right there, and you can see it in action.
Okay, Boom effectively spawn camping from the entirety of the canal away, and that was the quickest first point I've seen in a while.
The DPS of this Tidal Typhoon side just absolutely coming alive right there, and Obscorp will land another one. Poor Suze did so well early on, but cannot bring her bearings down right there. Obscorp continuing to fire in, will not be denied on this Pharah. And now a little bit of pressure being applied directly in front of Aoi, who jumps up there rather boldly and meets with nothing but disaster. The amplification, or sorry, the beatdown bongo, whatever you want to call it, it's coming out right now, giving Obscorp just that much more poke damage here on this Pharah, basically sending every member of HOTSOUP fleeing for cover, except for the ever fearless Aoi, who just charges straight forward into it. Unfortunately, though, Suze will be down early on the fight. Obscorp just pressuring in there on the Winston. You will see Suze res back on. Obscorp will drop. Suze and High Horseface combining for the 2 kills right there. Boom in a little bit of trouble, backs up, takes that health back, continues to fight it out as the clone comes out from Shillelagh. And that will be Cashews and Gap Shot done and dusted. Add Boom to the pile, and that's the entirety of Tidal Typhoon right there, driven back.
Finally, it felt like HOTSOUP was just on the back foot for, what, like a minute and a half? Quite a few fights where Tidal Typhoon were just sticking one person on cart, raining death from on top of that little staircase, and there was nothing really that could be done to stop the momentum. Oh dear, well.
Speaking of momentum, a very brutal engage coming out on the side of HOTSOUP right here. Cashews does manage to trade out one in the midst of all of that, but it is just one. Bok doing some serious work. Obscorp wins the duel of the Flyers right there, but at the cost of their own life. And still, Tidal Typhoon being a little bit held up right here. Doesn't quite want to push forward.
Coming into the second point, especially where the card's about to reach right now, Boom is going to have a lot of difficulty because there's not quite as many sightlines as there was on first point, so everything's going to be a little bit more claustrophobic. I'm not sure if it's going to matter if Cashews and Obscorp are getting that many kills, but yeah, they're going to have trouble.
Speaking of the difficulty right there, Boom is annihilated. This Bob doing plenty of work. The Butler takes out the trash on the backside. Cashew's doing really well on the Roadhog, actually just adding kills in all of these fights. Unfortunately, just never really able to make it stick. He'll annihilate Aoi right there, and that might be the kill they needed. The whole hog is unleashed as well. Shillelagh does take down Obscorp, but Cashew's, he's on a tear. High Horseface is down. Bok is down. Boom jumps in at the last second to avenge the death of Worf. And on the back of that Roadhog play, the cart will continue to go.
With Star Wars King having this amplification matrix coming up right now, or give or take, I would expect Tidal Typhoon to have a better chance of taking this point, but it looks like they want to just disengage. Well, somewhat.
Shillelagh is down. Suze here putting in damage from the library, but uh-oh, here comes Roadhog. 13 health left, will be beaten into the dirt. Aoi, however, getting Star Wars King out. The amplification matrix was used right there. Aoi still jumping around in that primal, trying to make something happen. Bok is down, and Shillelagh has invested the hologram here as well. Shillelagh looking for something to do with it as the barrage comes sailing in. That'll be Murph down. Shillelagh goes as well. Oh, and Tidal Typhoon are surging into this. Aoi's the only one really left in cart contention position. He's doing a beautiful bit of dancing right there, but unfortunately he makes the wrong step. He treads on the toes, and he is taken down, and now it's Bok investing the grab, but there's a Valkyrie Mercy in it, and here comes Cashews to the rescue. He'll pull Bok in and Murph down as well, and that's the end of them and the end of second point.
He just has to back out. He was there and ready to contest, but his team wasn't whatsoever. Everyone else got far spawn. Oh dear, Boom might be in danger, but it's hard to say with Obscorp peeling so hard. Oh, no, okay, well it didn't last very long. And you have a few swaps coming out from HOTSOUP now. Aoi over to the Reinhardt, Shillelagh over to the Mei. They're just trying to find something to stop this cart progress. It's doing good, but not as good as they'd like.
That's a good ice wall, trapping him in there with Bob. See what they can do with it. And what they can do with it is get Gap Shot one down. Suze will add another one here too. Takes out some dynamite and takes out Star Wars King. Obscorp here still applying pressure though, just preventing them from pushing up too far, though the point firmly in control of the HOTSOUP side.
Ooh. Yeah, especially with Suze having so much free reign now. Obscorp's going to have a little bit more difficulty. Probably going to have to wait for the fight to really break out before peeking over as aggressively as they were, because, yeah, the Ash is just going to be sitting there waiting.
Oh, the cheeky peekies getting punished right there. They do get the res in. Owie taking a lot of damage right up here on the shield, but still fighting it out. Gap shot getting some damage in return, falling back in. I think a nanoed May in the midst of all of that. Gap shot, he didn't want none of it. He's falling back, getting some support heals. A little bit terrifying. You don't see it every day, and I imagine it was meant for Owie, but oh no, the beatdown bongos are invested. There's not really enough bodies, though, to make this all worth it. The ice walk up there on Gapshot. Gapshot just backing up, getting pressure from all sides, and the main tank will go down. 35 seconds on the clock.
This is exactly where HOTSOUP want to hold the card. It's the easiest place to hold on third point, just because you have a free high ground. The enemy team has to push into either the main choke points or the little one on the left, or I guess the left of the offense, the right of Suze now, which is probably even harder to push through as long as they're expecting it.
Amplification Matrix down there early on. Suze in position with the Bob to just unleash this and cut the head off this attack, and it surely will. Gap shot blasted into the dirt. Obscorp doing their level best to try and bring this one back around, but it will not happen. Obscorp is down, and it's the Bob at the end of the day who just holds firm, and it's Cashews versus Bok surrounding the point. Cashews is keeping it alive long enough for Worf to get back into the action. The remake is denied, and now the cart will carry on in overtime.
The DPS from Tidal Typhoon aren't very fast, however, so they're going to take a little while longer to get back, and that might prevent them. However, as I say, the Obscorp is back, and the Boom is right behind, so they are all here and ready to push just a little bit further, if only.
Well, the doors must be held. The bomb goes up. Boom goes down. He did get Eye Horseface before consigning himself to that explosive demise, so they will be able to at least get one of the supports out of this initial engagement for HOTSOUP. Owie playing very aggressively, takes this immortality field as an opportunity to get some swings in. Owie being forced to back up, goes for a desperation charge there. The supports keeping their Reinhardt alive through all the fury that Tidal Typhoon can unleash. And they will manage to clear the point. Gapshot 1 rolls back just a second too late to contest.
Not the absolute best push on offense on Rialto, as you can imagine. Full capturing would be more ideal, but not terrible either. It's defendable. This is right around the position, maybe a little bit further behind that, say, like the famous C9 from San Francisco Shock in Season 2 playoffs against the Atlanta Reign. That no one will ever let them live down. So it's defendable, but it's also losable. It's going to really depend on how Tidal Typhoon play the clock, especially on first point, because that's going to set the pace for probably the rest of HOTSOUP's offense, right? You don't really want to have to wear down the clock that much on second point, because it's a little bit iffy, as we saw when Tidal Typhoon were trying to push forward on their offense towards second point. So you kind of want to stall as long as humanly possible on first point.
Well, Boom showing us the Widowmaker and Obscorp showing us the Pharah. They're going to stick with pulled pork on the front line here as well, and I can't necessarily blame them. Cashews was doing very good work on those initial 2 points on the Roadhog. On the other side, it'll be back to double bubble. They just don't want to let it die. They want to keep bubbling for as long as they can.
Well, it will be difficult now because Tidal Typhoon have a lot of space between them and the bulk of HOTSOUP, so they're going to have to find a way to close that gap rather quickly. Eye Horseface taking a whole bunch of poke damage pretty early on, but Obscorp taking more.
The skies really sometimes belong to Suze. You got to be a little bit careful right there. The anti-aircraft defenses are on point. Obscorp was res back in, but now it's Boom who's in a little bit of trouble. Takes a blast there from the Echo and will continue to fight. Owie now rotating up to the top of the hotel, and they've got some range here for this Widowmaker to go to work. Shillelagh, the one who will be responsible for pushing the card straight into the face of that Orisa. It's a bit scary for the Echo player to be all alone really on the front line, and they're not getting a whole lot of card movement out of this. But they will continue to fight on the high ground, just trying to assert their control over that position. They'll force Gapshot 1 back, whether he likes it or not. Owie will get the nano boost, goes in, he goes hunting for a bird. Can he bring the Pharah down? He can, but only with a little bit of help from Horseface, and then it'll be Suze getting in on the action one more time. The Ashe, undeniably strong. They will get the res here back on Shillelagh. Horseface adds another one. The Robo Horse going down, and Owie just juggles and smuggles Cashews right off the edge of the map. No, wait! Cashews is still alive! I'm sorry! He pulls himself back on by hook or by crook. The Roadhog remains in play. And that is a very bold thing indeed. Can he get back on and make use of this whole hog, though? They're trying to get it through the amplification matrix, and that's scary in such a confined space. You saw Owie's life just evaporate. Now they'll unleash a grab of their own, and Suze and Owie are all over it, just continuing to pressure in right here. ObsCorp taken down by their own splash damage, and it's an ugly fight at the end, but it is one that HOTSOUP will win.
If I recall correctly, this is also on basically the same pace that Tidal Typhoon had going into second point as well. So maybe we see a repeat of history and second point becomes a large stall area. Otherwise, HOTSOUP's looking pretty good right now. However, they invested basically everything they had, whereas Tidal Typhoon lost Worf, they lost ObsCorp before they could really invest their ultimates, so they're probably going to have a chance to slow things down a little bit more, especially with Boom now onto the Ashe, and being a little bit less claustrophobic than on the Widow.
Well, Shillelagh just operating on this flank to throw a ton of echo damage downrange. Nearly has the clone here too, and it'll be a primal from Owie to start things up. ObsCorp unleashes the barrage in the back line. That's both the supports down. Shillelagh is out as well, and oh no, Owie just runs for the spawn as Bok is beaten into the dirt.
And that was a fight one with basically two ultimates. It was just the Valkyrie from Morph and the barrage from ObsCorp. Both supports taken out instantaneously. And when Owie has to use most of his primal rage just to get back to his own spawn, to regroup, that's probably not very good for him. He is on single digits HP right now, and everyone else is stuck behind the bridge. So, not a great look. Oh dear.
Poor Owie. He's just wanted a trip to the theater, and he's being denied it. No opera for Winston tonight. Boom continuing to hunt their prey right there, but Boom makes a critical mistake. He gets caught on the jump, and Owie and Suze get both the DPS down. They'll try and go for the Mercy as well with the Dynamite, but all the pressure in the world is being applied straight to the top deck here of the Opera House. They'll even sleep Cashew as Owie just collects the entire enemy team, and now Shillelagh getting in on the action here too as Cashews is just murked there in the theater lobby.
They got a little bit too greedy. Oh dear, you have some ultimates being invested from Tidal Typhoon almost immediately. You don't want to give this point up.
What? Boom! Oh no, Bob is out here as well. They really want to fight for this second point, but it's a bit of an overcommit, a bridge too far, not quite literally in this case, but 3 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock, and that is the mark. Shillelagh lays eyes on that 72.20 meters position.
This isn't looking great for Tidal Typhoon on their defense because they're not getting the positioning that HOTSOUP did on the little area that you see High Horseface sticking out on. So that's a much better place to defend, however they are rushing forward.
The clone coming out from Shillelagh now, just trying to do a little bit of work as Star Wars King goes down early on. The bomb being invested there by the clone. Will it get anything? The remech might. I think that almost cost him a mech. It did. Cashews is out and down. There's still, though, Tidal Typhoon is putting up a hell of a fight on the front line. The bomb comes out there from Shillelagh. He got one more before that ended. A beautiful bit of play from the DPS, and they are cleared for landing here at the gateway. They will need some more defenders back if they are able to do this, but Tidal Typhoon in a very dangerous situation indeed. The fight not quite over yet. You'll see Star Wars King taking a hefty chunk of damage right there. The Immortality Field used and burned early on. Now the pressure coming out from ObsCorp on the back line. Murph is done and dusted. Owie still holding up tight here. Owie goes in for the jump, gets ricocheted back by that Reinhardt charge. And this is looking a little bit ugly here for HOTSOUP. They're still going. Shillelagh gets one. Owie gets another. Suze adding to the pile. Boom trades it back, but there's ObsCorp. He spins to win, and he will claim a victory there. Still 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, Acronator.
Ooh, I don't know what to make of this anymore. You had Gapshot dying mid-animation with the Shatter. I thought that was done and dusted, but ObsCorp comes back with like, what, a 3k? 2.5 kills with the Death Blossom and completely saves the day. And now you have Tidal Typhoon with the ability to restabilize. They have the Ant Matrix from Star Wars King that's going to create a lot of incoming damage and force HOTSOUP into an unfavorable position, as well as Boom coming up onto the Pulse Bomb. Oh no.
Sue's going straight in right there. A dagger into the flank of this team as Owie, the hammer, on the front line, smashes away. Sue's adds boom to the kill count. What's one more? Because Dwarf is down as well. And Sue's and Owie just break these gates wide open. A battering ram of gunfire and a hammer. And HOTSOUP will take Rialto.
You can't let a McCree just waltz into your backline and flashbang every single person. Surprisingly, OpsCorp gets to play the game. There was a bunch of different plays that I thought it could have been, but I think this one's rather deserving. Actually, this isn't even the one I was thinking it was.
OpsCorp just firing away right there. It was not the play we thought it would be, but it was still a good play nonetheless. And the Reaper did look quite well, but unfortunately, quite well is not quite good enough here for Tidal Typhoon. They will go down to 2-0. We will add that draw right there in there somewhere. I don't know. What was it? 2-0-1? No, 1-0. I can't do math. Numbers. This is why I got D's in math in high schools.
Yeah,
Study hard, kids, or you'll end up as a caster.
I studied hard and still ended up as a caster, but either way, HOTSOUP are now in series points, match points. One more and they win this. This is a 1-3, not a 1-4 like some grand finals have been in the past. And Tidal Typhoon now have to win or draw every single map for the remainder of this series to stay in it, which is a little bit of a daunting task, if you ask me.
Yeah, I hope they put plenty of gas in their reverse sweep Jeep or charged up, right? It might be an electric vehicle at this point in time, but whatever they did, they're gonna need a lot in the tank to get this one through. HOTSOUP, I mean, there's been good moments from Tidal Typhoon. I will not take it away from them, right? They have had some good plays, but on the balance, I really do think HOTSOUP has just looked like the dominant team here. A lot of things being dictated by the rhythm that they set. And even when Tidal Typhoon gets HOTSOUP in positions that are compromising, I think back to Owie kind of jumping up to the base of the Opera House and just getting stuck there. HOTSOUP somehow managed to turn that into a play that worked out for them. And that's the kind of stuff that, well, that's the kind of stuff that winners are made out of, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and we do have the next map's going to be Temple of Anubis. For Tidal Typhoon's sake, it's got to be either a win or draw Anubis. So they're going to have to figure something out in that regard. But if Tidal Typhoon wants to play more of this pulled pork, the Orisa Roadhog, they definitely can play it here. I wouldn't be too surprised if they decided to play that on their defense. Of course, they're going to be on offense first. HOTSOUP sticking on the defense, it appears. So they're going to have the opportunity to, once again, set the win condition. If they can prevent a full capture of both points, even getting a full hold, then they're going to put themselves in the best possible situation to win out this series rather quickly. If not, then it's really going to be on them to answer back in the second round.
Yes, it will be on them to answer back. And I mean, hopefully it's not a draw. I don't think any of us want to see another draw in the series. But Temple of Anubis, difficult map, right? First map that was ever created for Overwatch. And kind of a hard one to attack into, and at times it can be a little bit of a difficult one to defend. The thing you're going to want to watch out for here is those absolute respawn kind of strength, right? And we are getting started here. Tidal Typhoon on the attack yet again. HOTSOUP will once more start on the defense.
What is this composition that I'm seeing from HOTSOUP? So we've seen some variations of this in the past, especially with like an Orisa Wrecking Ball, but this is a Winston Orisa, so I'm going to be curious to how they play this. Just looking at it, I would have to assume the Winston is going to play something along the lines of the off-tank to peel for anyone who needs it, but maybe he's just going to go completely face first into the opposing team and just kind of play it like a Winston Reinhardt, I suppose. I don't know. I don't quite know how you play this if you're HOTSOUP. I guess you just wait for them to come in.
I don't know either, but I guess you just let him jump on. You let Suze get a couple of shots in right there, and, well, you're beginning to feel the electricity coursing in because Grabshot 1's putting a lot of pressure up on this top deck position. Suze just having to back up into the corner. Oh, a nasty little bit of play there from the Ash, but Bok gets Boom back for taking down Shillelagh, and the res will essentially invalidate the play that the Tracer made, and the defense will hold strong, nearly take off Cashew's head right there in the doorway.
It seems like Tidal Typhoon is looking at this and wondering how they approach it as well. I'm not really sure. You have an overlap of the bubbles there, so Gap Shot's going to be taking a ton of damage, but at the very least he has the Primal Rage. Oh dear.
Oh dear, Obscorp gets taken out early on in the fight. Now they have a nano boosted in here, because why not at this stage? Owie. He's going to try and just cook Cashews right here, and Cashews will go down. An anti-nade comes sailing in onto Owie, and he will be merciful and actually let Star Wars King escape right there. He knows that he will be back, that he will remain hungry.
It's not even worth it. I mean, when you're looking at these fights, they've taken, what, now, like 3? And they're basically halfway into the round. A really early tire from Shillelagh. I'm not sure what he's looking for here, but, okay. Maybe a bit of a fat finger on the detonation.
Have that problem, okay? It's totally normal to have premature detonations of tires. Anyway, back to the fight on the high ground, and it looks like Tidal Typhoon is detonating a little bit right here, because Obscorp's got one, and Gapshot Cashew's getting on the action. There's Obscorp's again, and they have actually busted this open. Suze is left trying to fight up here on the high ground, solo doing Star Wars King. The rest of the team, apparently not capable of peeling a banana, will finally come back and save Star Wars King's life, but that's okay. They've taken the point, and that's what really matters. Sacrifices sometimes have to be made.
And now 4.5 minutes coming into this second point. That's probably one of the better time banks you could hope for if you're Tidal Typhoon, especially after a rather rough first point. So they have a decent amount of ultimates to work with. I mean, they have the duplicate, they have the grab, they have the primal rage, they have the rally to engage with. I'd expect that to be the next thing that's coming out. Otherwise, Sue's probably going to be tossing out the Bob, or Owie tossing out the primal rage if he really needs it.
Sue's backing up there will be the Bob, Acronator, you call it correctly. Boom getting a kill on Murph, and now Gapshot 1 gets here as well. Boom is down, and it's a bit of a valiant defense from Suze playing on the south side edge, just trying to get a couple of kills. Horseface will chime in as Suze gets deleted right there. Bok remains standing strong. Still, the kills are filtering in around the main tank. The contest is here. They will need something good from Shillelagh, who does come sailing back in on the Junkrat with a lot of damage to deal. And between Ali and Shillelagh and this continued presence of Bok, who has not stopped firing right there for a good 5 seconds, they will secure this second point, at least temporarily.
Yeah, actually, I was about to say, just before he did swap over, that Obscorp or Boom might want to swap over to something like a Reaper, because once you get into the face of the Orisa composition, it's very difficult to deal with it, especially with a Reaper. But now that we have Bok swapping off of the Orisa onto a Diva, it might be a little bit more difficult for the Reaper to find value. Granted, I say that Obscorp just performed out of his mind on Rialto with the Reaper, so who knows?
Oh, there comes the tire. This one won't miss. Cashews is down. Worf gets a little bit of vengeance, but, well, it's dish best served cold for a reason, as Gapshot is just bullied right there on the sideline. Obscorp does make Murph pay for it, but not enough, really, to pay the bills right here, as Worf is shocked out of his mind, and this probably will be a death here as well for... Nope, never mind. Obscorp will escape.
Worf trying to deliver a drive-by and kind of got the reverse of that. But either way, have both teams with a decent amount of ultimates. I would probably expect an early nano onto Owie here, just to engage, not allow Tidal Typhoon. Yep, to get in very much.
There it is. Yeah, and what a nano as well. Oh my lord, Horseface making such a play for the team right there. The combined nano and the anti-nade just clearing out Tidal Typhoon like a bad infestation, and they will reset here with Owie on the high ground, who, you know, I was going to say he's being stealthy, but he's a giant couple 100-pound gorilla in armor, so they do generally tend to notice him, Acronator, but he still makes the plays.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter if they know where he is, if they can't do anything about it, although Obscorp seems to be doing something. Well, he was doing something about it prior to Horseface doing something about him, and getting a little bit more awkward for Tidal Typhoon. They have a minute and a half left. They're going to have the Death Blossom, but how do they approach the points to do so, to use it?
Well, the infamous time burning down on the second point of Anubis. Obscorp goes in bigly there for the Death Blossom. They will get a kill onto Horseface, though it took almost the entire ult. Murph They're claiming revenge and Valkyrie forward for their fellow support. There's still a fight to be had here, though. Owie does get hacked by this sudden Sombra swap. But Gapshot 1 is down, and Sombra probably not long for this world either. The translocate, I think, forced right there as Worf gets burned down on the retreat. And now it'll be a little bit of a bully act here as they'll just try and stall Cashews out from respawning, and, well, there we go.
Well, only so much you can do is D.Va getting stalled, but either way, again, both teams relatively even in terms of ult economy, but that favors the defense in this case. I mean, Tidal Typhoon haven't been able to take even a singular tick, and with Owie coming up onto this Primal Rage, he can get a little bit more suicidal than he otherwise would be. Already you have Owie getting nano boosted and just taking everyone out of the field. There's about one fight remaining, and it's not looking too good for Tidal Typhoon. Yeah, you do have a little bit of a attempted stagger onto Cashews, but ObsCorp is there and making Owie force out the Primal Rage.
He does get the Primal Rage going. Cashews will lose the mech. Owie now just primaling around. Gets boom somehow. The Sombra was in there. Owie will die. But there's 2 seconds left on the clock, and they do have people on deck touching as Worf comes sailing in. Star Wars King is already dead. Worf, the lone support in that fight, will go down as well. Gapshot 1 beat up at the entryway, and oh no, I don't see how Tidal Typhoon can keep this one going. It's a very valiant effort from Cashews there on the ball, but that is done and dusted. Horseface continues to just frag on the supports.
Yes, that's 2 CP for you. Tidal Typhoon had, honestly, a decent few reasonable pushes there, but it never really amounted to much because they kind of lacked the target focus when it mattered most, and target focus is really the name of the game when it comes to second point of 2 CP for the vast majority of these maps, Anubis in particular being one of the harder ones, one of the most, or I guess least favored maps would be the best way to describe it in the entire pool, now that Paris and Horizon Lunar Colony aren't really played that much. They're kind of the black sheep of the 2CP family. So coming into this, I mean, this is do or die for Tidal Typhoon. Their defense has to be solid. Otherwise, they bow out of this grand finals. This is their last chance.
Speaking of solid, I went and looked up just now how much Winston weighs. Directed me to a Reddit thread. Do you care to guess the answer?
Okay, let's see if my animal science degree comes in handy here. 600 to 700 pounds?
According to Reddit user, and I just lost his name here, I believe it's Cap Shep, you are incorrect. It is a gorillion pounds.
Okay, well...
Our poor producers about ready to shut down the stream after that one. So, but no, I think your 600-pound estimate would be perfectly logical. But the answer, a gorillion, as the fight continues, and that's where Google will take you. By the way, if you look that up, how much does Winston weigh Overwatch? But Sue's here, looking down the sights of the rifle here, trying to get an early pick. Cashews. Oh, he saw his entire life flash before his eyes. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. Sue's up on the top deck trying to get another hit in like that and just take one of these defenders out early on. Oh, another headshot there on the cap shot. He will stay alive, though. The support play in position to keep him healed up. Unfortunately, they cannot heal. Boom! As Shillelagh brings him down, and there comes the dive on Owie. Owie pushing up, just putting pressure on Gapshot. Put an anti-nade in here as well. ObsCorp trying to teleport up to deal with the Widowmaker and received a bullet to the face for his trouble. Shillelagh is dead, though. Owie has the nano boost now, and we've seen this bit of film before. A desperate attempt by Cashews to stay alive. He'll actually push forward, trying to draw the Winston off. A very valiant effort. Somehow Cashews survives all of that, but despite the hero play there from the off tank, it will not be enough. Star Wars King is down, and the first point has fallen.
Not quite yet, if ObsCorp has anything to say about it, but he doesn't have very much, as
He's
that
remarkably
lasted
silent.
But 0.2 seconds of a stall there, but who knows, that 0.2 seconds could come in handy. But I mean, HOTSOUP captured about a minute faster than Tidal Typhoon. They have 5.5 minutes, especially with the sights coming up for Suze. She's providing quite a lot of utility for her team.
And here's another Owie Primal. You've seen it before, you've loved it before. Not if you're on the side of Tidal Typhoon right now, getting juggled around as if they were in their namesake. but it'll be iHorseface who gets another kill. And iHorseface has just kept killing on the supports. I absolutely love it. Suze will add another one here as Owie drops on top of Gapshot. All a gorillion pounds coming in. Owie still alive, being kept up through all of this. Oh my lord, the anti-nade went into the grab right there too and just made this even worse. Owie pushes up. Lucio electrocuted. Worf not able to stand. OpsCorp is down. A desperate contest comes from Cashews. He's swinging. He's just trying to hold on, buy his team enough time to reset, and he's doing a very admirable job of it as the grab comes out on the other side. Boom does manage to get Bok out of this fight. iHorseface strikes again, and here comes the nano boost, and God help them all because there is no mercy left in this space scientist. He will continue to cook here. Cashews fighting out right there. Oh no, what can they possibly do to hold this together? It's an absolute slipshod, desperate defense, and there's still 4 minutes, 15 seconds left on the clock. Suze gets one right there. There are still defenders in position though. Worf tries to come back on. You'll see Star Wars King tapping in with the Moira as well, but it's Owie and Shillelagh getting some kills. Gapshot 1 is on the ball. My apologies. He will continue to go into ball stall mode. OpsCorp unleashes the Death Blossom and gets 3. Boom gets Owie, and on the back of a huge Death Blossom from OpsCorp, Tidal Typhoon will hold on.
I have a very small request for Tidal Typhoon. For the rest of this series, regardless of what happens, keep ObsCorp on the Reaper. He seems to be pretty clutch on it. That's like the 3rd Death Blossom that single-handedly saved fights. I mean, that fight lasted for 2 minutes straight. I don't quite understand what happened throughout there, but Suze finally swaps off of the Widowmaker, unsurprisingly. The sightlines aren't great, but I mean, they're ready and raring to go again, and Bok already has the Graviton Surge. Murph is going to have the Valkyrie. There's a lot to work with here if you're HOTSOUP, and you have so much time to work with.
Veritable ult fiesta online here for the attackers. 3 minutes to play. The nano boost will come in first there. Owie diving in, trying to do some damage. Coalescence comes out on the side of Star Wars King. It's well placed indeed to keep them up. The Graviton Surge there catches the supports, and Boom is down. Oh, Star Wars King will survive, but Shillelagh gets in. ObsCorp, he can't do it alone, and Horseface, Owie, the kill feed lights up blue, and that might just do it here. Tidal Typhoon, they've got no bodies left to contest, and HOTSOUP are your intermediate GitGud Season 7 champions.
You know, that's, they deserved it. I don't know what else to say. HOTSOUP just played better. Tidal Typhoon played their hearts out, but HOTSOUP just consistently played their win conditions better. They played the tempo better. They're your champions. There's no other way to put it.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Acrodator. They were the stronger team today. That's not to take away from Tidal Typhoon, a very impressive performance. And remember, the only team they lost to in the playoffs was, well, HOTSOUP. But at the end of the day, HOTSOUP will beat them again and continue their undefeated run to take the title. And that will do it for this Season 7 in the Intermediate Division. But don't go anywhere. Plenty more action here on ELO Hell. It's a matchup between BB Academy and I believe Business Academy. Am I getting that right? Or is it BB University? BB University versus Business Academy. A battle of learning institutions coming up here on ELO Hell. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.